Hi there, I'm Coach Kenneth,
And I'm Coach Victoria.
and in this video we're going to be talking to you about, will we be together again?
A very popular question.
You know, when you're going through that breakup, that's probably the thing you obsess about and think about the most is, are we going to get back together again? Is my ex going to give us another chance? And it just consumes us. I think we spent most of our day trying to figure out if they're going to come back, what our ex is doing, and how that might mean that they are coming back or not coming back. Mm-hmm. And every tiny little thing that we see, we interpret it as definitive information because we don't like to sit with that uncertainty and not knowing.
Oh, yeah. And many of us going through a breakup, we are going through a massive life change. For some of us, this means a lifestyle change. You probably had habits and routines with your partner. They would come over every day. You would drink your morning matcha, whatever it would be. Some of you are moving countries. Some of you are moving, homes after a breakup. So this can mean a huge change and a lot of unpredictability. And predictability really is some of the foundation of our mental health.
Yeah.
Being able to somewhat expect some of the things that are going to happen in the next day. And when you're going through something as emotionally charged as a breakup and as unpredictable as a breakup, it can really have you thinking in extremes and focusing on all those little details. It can be the smallest thing, like they posted something and it's like, the whole world has stood still.
Yep.
Right? So it really affects our nervous system. It affects our hypervigilance. It affects the way we view the world.
One little post by them can ruin your day.
Yeah.
Maybe your week, honestly, depending upon what it is. But I remember seeing tiny little posts from my exes and even something so stupid that, and it would just absolutely throw me into like the end of the world. It felt like the end of the world. I was dying inside. I would call friends and family to talk to them about what had happened. It was so upsetting. And looking back, I'm like, oh my gosh, like clearly it was my own attachment issues and attachment trauma. I've openly talked about both my parents were married 3 times each. And, there was a lot of separation when I was little. And so that separation anxiety that I grew up with as a kid, I didn't realize how much it was impacting me, especially at the time of a breakup.
Oh, yeah.
I was fairly centered in my relationships. I wasn't too anxious. But when at the breakup, that's where I was bad. Trust me, guys. You guys think you did cringy stuff? I did cringy stuff.
It definitely strikes up our anxiety, going through something like that, separating from somebody that we were so connected to. And we start to think in terms of always and forever and extremes because we like to have some kind of semblance of control and some kind of semblance of predictability. So when I hear this question, will we ever be together again? I hear, am I ever going to see them again? Am I ever going to talk to them again? Was that the last interaction that we'll ever have for the rest of time? Was that it? And with life, sometimes we ask some of these questions that nobody will know.
In fact, your ex probably doesn't even know.
Yeah.
Because probably sometimes they think, well, maybe we can work it out. And sometimes they think, no, I'm happier. I'm better off without that relationship. It wasn't going well. And so your ex is confused and conflicted too. Don't think that they have everything set in stone. Mm-hmm. Now, they're going to act like they're set in stone because if they lower their guard, let's face it, you're going to be like a used car salesman and pushing and pushing and pushing and not leaving them alone. So they have to set those boundaries. But believe me, I have talked to many, many dumpers over the years that when they're laying on their pillow at night and they're thinking about the relationship or the breakup, they are not sure and they are missing you. And so they are not sure either. Okay. And even if they start dating other people, please, those rebounds fail most of the time. Mm-hmm. Most of the time. In fact, I'm willing to bet at least 90% of the rebounds fail. Mm-hmm. If not higher. Honestly, it very rarely lasts.
And a lot of the risk of them dating early on after a breakup is the natural tendency to compare. Mm-hmm. Oh, well, my ex would never make a comment like that. Mm-hmm. My ex would never treat me like this. My ex would always hold the door open for me, So sometimes this new person will be in a situation where they're being compared and they may or may not even know it.
Yeah, exactly. Because the new person won't know how over you are or they are over you, mm-hmm. right? The new person that comes along they're not going to really reveal how over you they are to this new person that they're showing interest in. They're going to hide that. They're going to hide their agenda to them. They're going to hide their agenda to you. They're going to keep those things closely guarded because they're probably not sure either way what they want.
Exactly.
But when you're going through this and maybe you see that they went on a date with somebody new, or they're adding new people on social media. Let's face it, we watch the count. We watch to see what new people are there. Some of you guys are looking at the new people's pages to see which stuff they're liking or not liking. I've heard it all. Believe me, I've seen it all. And we do this because we feel so much anxiety, primal panic. We feel like we're dying when we're disconnected from that person. And that is why we often do such extreme things, because it literally feels like we're dying without them. And not knowing whether or not they're going to come back is very different than, like, if we know somebody's passed away, we have a definitive answer. And that's why I think we don't feel the same way. Like, my mom passed away, and it wasn't nearly as painful as a breakup, because I knew my mom wasn't going to come back, right? And as painful as that is, it's different when you're wondering day after day, month after month, if somebody's going to come back.
Right. And it's a double-sided coin, because on one end, it can be very anxiety-producing because it's so unpredictable. But on the other end, it can be used as a comforting thought. And many people believe in the idea of a heaven, right? That one day you'll reunite with the people in your life that you've lost, right? And sometimes when we're going through a breakup, our brains will almost act like this person has passed away. You know, we just don't see them. We're not connecting it with them in the ways that we usually are. So a lot of times it's abrupt. You know, the rug is just pulled from underneath us, and we just don't know where this person went. And physiologically, we're looking for this person. And so we have to remind ourselves a breakup is very different from an actual loss. There is a huge distinction there. And something that Margaret used to say, and she would say this kind of in jest, but also in terms of comforting people, she would say they're still on the planet. And some of you might be really frustrated by that, but it's true. You know, they're still on the planet. And unpredictability is a two-sided coin. It can go good, it can go bad. It's unpredictable. It can go either way. Right?
But it's scary not knowing.
It's scary not knowing.
But it reminds me of that song, Somewhere Out There. You remember? Where they're
SpongeBob?
No, it's the mouse tail with Fievel.
Oh, I was thinking about the SpongeBob and does anybody know that episode with no? Okay.
I don't remember that SpongeBob episode. It must be after season 5, because that's where I kind of draw the line. Up to season 5 is amazing, but after that it gets a little, I don't know, not as good. Okay. But remember the old song when they're like, somewhere out there beneath the pale blue sky, someone's out there thinking of you or whatever. You don't know that song?
I don't.
Oh, it's so sad. We're gonna listen to it after this.
Right.
But knowing that somebody is still alive is a very different feeling, that you could talk to them again, you could see them again, and not knowing makes it very difficult for us. As human beings do not like not knowing and wondering. And you're wondering, will my ex reach out? Many of you will hear from your ex, especially if you're not pressuring them, doing grand gestures, handwritten letters, causing drama, stalking them. Those things are going to make them afraid to reach out to you, because they're afraid that you're going to do those things again. And that's an awkward thing. That's not like a mutual connection where both people are equally happy to be in it. It's like one is desperate and the other one's reluctant. So you got to be careful. And that's why you're going to be far more likely to repair this if you're not coming from a desperate place.
Right. And we can't control what our ex does, right? We can't control whether we are going to see our ex again or not. We can do things that can affect our chances, and we can do things to improve ourselves regardless. So that is the one thing, that internal locus of control, that one thing that we do have control over is ourself, our choices, who we choose to surround ourselves with, what we decide to work on and invest our energy into. And so this is what's important, and this is ultimately what makes us feel more confident, right? If we're trying to control whether or not we see an ex or get back together with an ex, then our life is going to feel really out of control, really unpredictable, and really unsafe. And I'm sure many of you have experienced some of this at some point, where maybe your ex's frequent watering hole. And so you go there, and every time you are there, you are scanning.
Yep.
You are not calm and centered at all.
The gym, the
Yes.
church.
You are just waiting for your ex to walk in. Every person who even remotely looks like your ex, oh my gosh, is that them? Right? And so this puts us in a state that's very unhinged. That's not a clinical word, unhinged. We get to this place where we start to spiral, and we become hypervigilant, and we are very, very anxious. And so thinking about, well, what can I control here? I can't control if my ex walks through the gym doors or not. But what I can control is if they do walk through the gym doors, I'm going to be focused on what I'm doing. That's what I can control.
Yeah. And, I will say, for those of you that are really scared and doubting things, exes come back all the time, even after they play some games with you or act like they're not interested. I just got a message an hour ago from a woman I did a bunch of coachings with that her ex had been watching her stories on social media for months. Then he finally contacted her about getting something back, and she tried to get some information, like, what's going on here, basically. Are you wanting to see me? Do you want to get together? He said, no, I'm seeing someone else. And that was a few months ago, and so she was very upset, obviously, by all that. Then she tells me today, guess who just spilled their feelings and vomited their feelings for me about how much they missed me. And I haven't even got the whole story yet, so I think we might be doing a coaching tomorrow to talk about everything. But I see these kind of things all the time. Your ex doesn't look interested. They block you. They start talking to other people. They tell you it's going great with this new person. And now it's getting serious with this new person. And then it falls apart. And guess what? They think about you, and they realize how you showed up in their life, and they miss you, and then they want to come back. Right. And you feel a lot better when you feel like you have some power and control back.
Right. And we can only really understand the world through our own experiences. So many of you are grieving because you haven't experienced a love like this, and it can be hard to imagine anything different, right? So when you're asking that question, will I ever be together again with my ex? You're saying, will I ever experience just like the greatest love of my life, or the most connected that I felt, or, the most seen or heard that I felt? We want to always try to expand your mind here on this channel, right? We don't know what's ahead for you, but what if what's ahead is also a lot of great things? What if what's ahead is a lot of blessings and a lot of good things, right? So we know the power of hope. We know the power of positive thinking, which is why we tried to spread that as much as possible.
Absolutely. Look at it like you'll get another opportunity with that person. If it doesn't come, you'll still be in a great place because you've done the work. But if you're just obsessing about how they're logging on to social media or what they're posting, you're not going to grow and you're not going to get anywhere. And at the end of the day, either one day they're going to reach out or they're not. And think about it, like if they'd never reach out and you spent hours upon hours just looking to see if they logged on to Instagram or not, look at how it was a waste of time. And even if they do come back, you're still going to feel like, why did I spend so much time worrying about that when now we're arguing again, things aren't going well, and I'm not emotionally in a good place because you were focused on the wrong thing. So always try and focus on the personal growth, and you're going to be far more likely to turn it around. All right. So hopefully this one's been helpful to you. Of course, if you want to get our help personally, you could do that on my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Zoom calls. Coach Victoria is also available for Zoom calls.
I'm here whenever you'd like to chat.
Just click on her name at the top of the website to schedule with her. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And we will talk with you soon.